The year is 1772. Catherine of Russia, not the Great, we won't call her the Great, partitioned Poland for the first time. Subsequently, 1793 and 1795. My name is Mark Biernat. I'm a monetary economist. I'm reporting from Poland, and I want to discuss a very serious issue. What's happening in Poland? What is Poland's response to the drone attack from Russia? What is NATO's response? What is going on in Russia's mind? And I can tell you this, they're not testing and probing NATO. They're not even testing Washington's response. And that's my claim. I'll tell you what they're doing later on in the video. First, I want to talk about Catherine the Great. First thing you have to understand is Catherine the Great is basically reincarnated with the current Tsar of Russia. I don't even want to say his name. He's basically channeling that lady, okay? Look up how Catherine the Great died. And her fondness of horses, maybe? Catherine the Great saw Russia as expanding imperially, defending orthodoxy. Yes, you had Nicholas I and Alexander III. Yes, you have the fundamentals of geopolitics, the modern spin on it in some strange way. But it's really Catherine the Great in which the current leader in the Kremlin is following. To the T. So what is happening? What is Poland's role in this? I know the fundamentals of geopolitics say Poland is like divided between, the transatlantic coalition and the Eurasian, basically split, and it's a special case. What's happening is this. Poland was attacked by drones. The drones came as close, almost as far into Poland they penetrated, to Gdansk and Łódź, which means boat in Poland. But if you look at the line on a map, that's pretty deep penetration into Poland. And they were with Lithuanian and Polish SIM cards, which means they weren't armed. They were reconnaissance drones. They were going to see how far they could go into Poland. So what are they doing? I'm going to tell you later on in the video. Whatever you think Poland's role is, Poland will be next, the Baltics will be next. Just look at what Catherine the Great did. The current Tsar of Russia, before he annexed Crimea in 2014, he gave a speech quote from Catherine the Great. Before he invaded Ukraine in February 2022, he gave a speech quote with Catherine the Great embedded. Anytime he starts quoting Catherine the Great, he has a map. He literally has a map, and I'll tell you more about that maybe in later episodes of what the world should look like. Catherine the Great expanded it from the Baltic, partitioned Poland. She was responsible for partitioning Poland. She wasn't great. Okay, so what is Russia's objective in Poland? Sphere of influence? I think you just look at the map of Catherine the Great, and that's your answer. Okay, so you say, drones. You say, okay, sirens are coming by. I might have to close my ears for a second. Poland's been on high alert. They sent, what's Poland's role? What are they doing? First of all, they sent 40,000 troops to the border. They closed the border. Everything's on lockdown all day long and all night. Sirens are going off. Police, special forces are just blowing through the cities of Poland. They're doing special training. If you haven't noticed it, if you're in Poland, you hear these sirens 24/7 now. They're training and testing to degree that they can move from one side of Poland to the other. Okay, so we know the Tsar's objective, and it's not just to make friends and to tread water or see Poland as a buffer. It's something that Catherine the Great has laid out. The Polish reaction is they're not naive. NATO doesn't protect them. Yes, on paper, NATO does. Article 4, Article 5, but what does Article 5 say? Article 5 says that nobody can vote against NATO intervention. That means you have to have all of NATO either voting yes or not voting. If you've got Turkey, if you've got Orban from Hungary, if you've got Fico, from Slovakia, and maybe some other, there might be some no votes. At least one vote could block all of NATO. So if Russia attacks the Baltics, you get one block vote from Orban of Hungary, NATO doesn't intervene. That's the rule. So what that means is Poland has to stand for itself. And they know that. They're not naive. Tusk is called for the quick modernization of the Polish army. Like he's like the new Pilsudski. Pilsudski talked about the H guy in Germany. He said we must crush the adder in the egg, before it all unfolds. And the Polish government, even though the president and the prime minister are on separate sides, they both agree this has to be squelched. I mean, it's heavy duty stuff. Even when I was driving on my little vacation, Sound of Music vacation to the Alps in Germany, I was stopped by the Czech Border Patrol. I had this little card that said, follow me. And I'm to my wife, is that me? I was stopped by the German police. They're checking everything. And, Poland, I probably shouldn't even be filming because there's just so much, high alert here. Poland is pumped, but they're not going to say anything. They'll try to make geopolitical alliances, but they're not depending on anybody. What's going to happen is if NATO can't rise to the occasion and 100%, Viktor Orban, Fico from Slovakia, if everybody's not on the same page, there's going to be coalitions within NATO that will help anyway. UK sending drones and manufacturing drones to Ukraine. Poland is ambitious to be the strongest army in Europe, and I think they should be, because they're not naive. They were partitioned. They know this Russia. They know it from Russia, right? With splitting Poland. Russia partitioned them. Russia has been a pain in their butt their entire existence. And fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So Poland's prepared, and they're not waiting for NATO or the U.S. Yes, they're glad that U.S. is giving them some help. U.S. is stationing troops at the border. They're glad that, right now it's kind of ironic that the president of Poland has a good rapport with the president of Washington right now. And this, he's kind of like a little bit of an economic nationalist. So ironically, fate has a strange sense of irony. This helps Poland. So the mind of the current Tsar of Russia is Catherine the Great. It all leads to that. I don't know why he's obsessed with her. He's obsessed with her in a big way. So I'm going to tell you what he's thinking when he sent these drones over. Everybody's saying it's a test, it's a probe. It's not that. So if you ever saw The Big Short, Michael Scott from The Office was the bigwig there. It's the movie about, Wall Street and the financial collapse 2008, et cetera, et cetera. And they were interviewing these guys. They were kind of like sleazy stockbroker guys, but in this case, they were sleazy, mortgage dealer guys. And they were trying to figure out, if they could get evidence that these guys were doing something crooked. And when they went there, I don't know if you remember the scene, Michael Scott, he's scratching his head. He wasn't Michael Scott, Steve Carell, the actor. Scratching his head is, the other guys were, I don't understand it. What are they doing? They're confessing to doing this. And he said, they're not confessing, they're bragging. That's Russia. The Kremlin's like a Mishniak, like a meat guy. They're not thinking strategically. They're not playing chess. They're like, Russia big, Russia strong, Nif. We just expand. We don't care losses. We don't care probing. They're bragging. They're not showing, China, North Korea, what they can do and that the alliance is strong. They're just doing it because they're doing it. I know you want a deeper answer. I know you want to think that they think like we do, in a sense, strategically, cautiously, testing, probing. That's not the way they think. He has a vision. He has a historic, he calls it spiritual, but it's a dark energy vision of conquest and restoring Russia to the greatness of Catherine the Great. That's step one. And there'll be biologicals probably in that equation somewhere. Nukes are nothing compared to the greater threat of biologicals. So what is he thinking? He's not thinking, I can tell you this right now, he's not thinking, test those guys, check it, maybe I'm safe, maybe I'm not. He's not fearless. He's a Mishniak. He's just like this guy that goes forward, doesn't think, like a very primitive criminal. I'm just going to do it, and then I'm going to flex about it. Okay, you see these guys sometimes in, workplaces or wherever, they're just flexers. He's just going to do it. I know it's a pretty bold claim. And Poland's reaction, they're silent because they're not naive. Yeah, the Lithuanian prime minister could have said this or that. Everybody's kind of rolling back, wants peace, very cautious. the Poles are not naive. It's Fortress Poland from here on out. And they're going to, in the words again, Michael Scott, what is he going to do? He's going to date Ukraine harder. They're going to send weapons and supplies, have military infrastructure here. This is going to be the hub. And they're going to bring Russia down like they did during Solidarity. You see the world unfold, and you understand it not from, the latest YouTuber repeating on the largest recycled area in the world, the internet, YouTube, saying it's a test, it's a test. You look at history. You look at Catherine the Great. You look at Poland's lessons they've learned, Fortress Poland, and they know to keep Poland safe, they have to bring Russia down one way or another. All right? That's the answer. My name is Mark Biernat. I'm a monetary economist. I'm reporting from Poland. Have a beautiful day. Peace and love to the whole world again. And I don't mean this in an aggressive way they do it. They're going to figure out a way for Russia to unfold and collapse, whether it be economic or one way or another. Have a beautiful day. Thank you very much.